think there definitely is a stigma for a lot of people, who have been through the care system and who are still in care.
I think when you tell people that you've been in care, people speak to you differently. I don't tell people at work that I was in care.
I feel like there's just this sticker, like this label on my forehead going like care leaver or messed up.
The stigma of being a care leaver in a hostel is an intense thing. When I was in hostels, I had police people who would come to the hostel for other reasons, and they would question me why I was in the hostel, and they would automatically think it's because I done something bad. And in reality, I was in that hostel because the people who are meant to take care of me didn't.
I think, society has an idea of what a family should look like and what someone's upbringing should be. There's still this sense of like the traditional nuclear family, mom, dad, and children, and just the way that a child should be raised.
Like, people really have no idea what care is or why people end up in care or anything, but they have all these assumptions. And it's like, have you even spoke to a care leaver? Have you even spoke to someone in care? Have you spoke to their family? Have you spoke to a social worker? I think once people find out I was in care, they kind of they're always surprised that I'm like okay and stuff, because it's like they kind of expect all care leavers to just be in prison or doing bad in life. But it's like, not all of us are.
I think there's this stigma of care leavers that, they've had a troubled life. You have to walk around on eggshells around them.
I think being in care has definitely affected what people expect of me and how they see me. People are still iffy when you tell them about your past. They still either automatically think that you need help or that you need pity and like, oh, life must be hard for you, and that you need extra sympathy for things, or think we need to stay away from that one because there must be something wrong with them.
I think often the stigma and the statistics contribute to that, this idea of if you're raised in the care system, that you don't necessarily amount to anything, or you're kind of expected to fail. And I've seen a lot of young people just kind of not really doing much or amounting to much, and social workers kind of just like, well, as long as they're not in jail. It can be something that, makes you feel quite bad about yourself, or, makes you go into that whole, self-fulfilling prophecy thing where if someone tells you that you're crap, you just start to behave that way, and you kind of just like turn into something that suits their stereotypes.
I think when you've been in care, people put expectations on you, and they tend to just be negative. Like, they expect you to just kind of be a failure. I mean, if you look at like statistics and stuff, it kind of makes sense. But then if you put those expectations on people, then, well, in some cases, of course, they're going to live up to them. It kind of makes me feel like maybe I should just live up to those expectations. They put all these stigmas on me and stuff. It makes me feel like maybe I should just, be like that. What's the point of trying if everyone kind of expects this from you anyways?
And it's ridiculous, and it really takes a toll on your mental health and the belief in yourself, because you're like, if no one's driving me forward, if no one believes that I can accomplish anything, then why should I? Because what is the point of it? Surely they must be right, because everyone else my age has at least someone believing in them, so why don't I? Most people who find out I'm in care, they don't expect much from me. And then they're actually shocked when I tell them how much I've done or like what I'm doing. And they're like, oh, really? Oh, you're doing really well for someone who's had a rough upbringing. And it's just like, you might think that's a compliment, but that's not a compliment. That's quite offensive. And then it was always like, oh, you're in care. Okay, don't worry about school. Don't worry about college. And it's like, no, don't pity me. Don't treat me like I'm less. Don't treat me like I can't do something just because I'm in care.
It's either sympathy, but not like real sympathy, just like, oh, that's so sad. Sometimes it's, wow, you've done so well for yourself despite blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, it must have been so hard. I think there's so much stigma that people will put that on you, and they'll think about that every time when they are talking to you. Like if I apply for a job or something, I don't want them to think, oh, it's a care leaver. Maybe either don't give her the job or don't, treat her like special.
There's quite a lot of stigmas when it comes to being in care. Some people think you're a troublemaker, and some people think that, you're like this fragile little thing, like, you're really messed up and you're gonna act out and things like that. And some people think you're so fragile you can't do things on your own.
I think having parents just get rid of you, basically. It's not something that you can kind of recover from. It's something that just stays with you forever. You compare yourself to everyone else, and they all have families and people who love them and just would never do something like that. But your parents are the ones who just, it feels like they just didn't want you. It's not like it's my fault my parents couldn't take care of me.
Because I think now, when it comes to the stigma of being in care, if you tell one person, everyone kind of knows. But I think when I'm like around people who didn't go through care, I have the stigma of, care leaver and this and that. But then when I'm around people who went, who are in care, I sometimes don't feel like I fit in either, because I went in quite late. So yeah, it's a bit difficult, because it's just like, I feel like an outsider in both of them sometimes.
I'll still say to friends things that I don't actually feel or I don't actually want to say, just because I'm playing a role, and it is very, very exhausting. And it drains you emotionally and physically, and it makes you isolate yourself quite a lot.
So as a child, you do notice the fact that you're different, or that your environment's different, and you don't necessarily always understand why that is. I remember even when I was 16 and I had a performing arts trip to go to in Derbyshire, my foster carer's social worker took me because she didn't want to take me. So you don't always get someone who's gonna kind of show up for you, in the way that a parent would. So it can be very, it's very, I guess, hurtful, and also just quite a bit sad.
I think as I've got older, I'm more likely to tell people, but I still only tell people who I kind of trust a bit. I won't just tell everyone. I think knowing that I've been in care kind of makes me proud of myself, because in a lot of cases I've kind of beat the statistics and I've done really well despite that, but at the same time because of that, because some of the opportunities I've had have been from being in care.
I think it's wrong to make assumptions without actually asking someone. I don't regret my past. I'm kind of happy it did happen, even though it was quite traumatic. That's what I'm going to use for that. But I wouldn't be as headstrong or as determined as I am now.
It was even the stigma when I had my son. Before my son was even born, people automatically thought that my mental health, because I was in care, meant I wouldn't be good at taking care of my son. And then they had the shock of their lives when my son was born, and all of a sudden they realized that to me, my son was the most important thing in the world, and that history was not going to repeat itself.
I don't care about the stigma because I know that I don't suit that stereotype. That's just not who I am. So I don't really get anything out of feeling sorry for myself or like allowing myself to be consumed by my own trauma. I kind of have to just like do the work that it takes to work on myself and make sure that I can, look back and know that I did what I had to do to better myself, because at the end of the day, no one's going to do it for me.